Good morning from Cardwell Farms. Here's your May 2nd or June 2nd weekly update. Here's the 2560 Ginger plant. This is right up there with probably the biggest plant I've ever had. It's about the same size of my rookie year, my 1501 Vanderweilen that I grew. Doing really good. It's a couple yucky looking leaves in there, but whatever, no big deal. All the rest, the new growth looks phenomenal. All the secondaries are just popping out really hard. Already terminated a couple all the way back there and all the way on that side that were about 10 feet long a piece. So I'm going to do kind of a diamond shape, like shorter vines at the back of the plant, longer as they get closer to the pumpkin, which is going to be pollinated this morning. Beautiful little girl. Looking good. This is a nice thick main vine up here. It's doing really good. This plant is killing it. Let's go look at the 2006 Wolf plant. Oh, let's look at the stump on the way past here real quick. Show you guys how big my stump is. This stump is a monster. Bam. It is not small by any means. It's going on the size of a soda can already. I've never personally had a stump this big this early on. You always want to touch it, make sure it's all good. Yeah, it's got some ugly leaves. Oh, almost just fell on my face. Holy cow, slipped on a piece of wood. Careful on your walking boards, everybody. Oh man, that would have been hilarious. Alright, and then this one is the 2006 Wolf plant. This is probably my most beautiful looking plant. It's not my biggest plant. My 2560 Ginger is, I don't know, 20 to 25 feet long. I haven't measured it, but I counted my drip tape that's every foot. So it's over 20 feet long. I know that for a fact. I think it has 24 secondaries already behind that fruit. So it's got 24, 25, 20, probably 26 secondaries total. That's a ton. This plant has got to be every bit of 16, 17 feet long. At least 15, solid 15 feet long. But it's turned that direction because it's going to come up behind my 2560 Ginger plant. And so I turned it going off that direction. So it's actually probably it would look a little longer than it is, but it's turned. Anyways. Yeah, this one's got some really good secondary growth. Possibly even better than the 2560 growth on its secondaries. Like, these secondaries are monsters. Like, this very back one is as big as my mains. It's huge. It's huge. Same with all of them. They're all doing just really good. A little bit of leaf burn. But that's not bad. That just means you're pushing your plant good and hard. So that's usually about what I do. I'll fertilize until I start getting just a little bit of leaf burn, and then I'll back off of it just a little bit. Just enough to get the burn to go away, because you don't really want leaf burn, but you kind of do. Just a little bit. You can see on all of them, it's 4 or 5 leaves back, there was just a little bit Just a teeny bit of leaf burn. Just a little bit. That's from fertilizer. I was fertilizing real hard right there. And then we backed off a bit and now we're good to go. My raspberry row is just going bonkers right now. It's going crazy. It's just a little gap right there. I don't really know why. Every year there's always a gap right there. Not sure what's going on. Weeds are finally starting to come up in my corn. Corn is always like so-so. I've always struggled with nitrogen problems. My Indian corn looks the best. And that stuff. But there's always so many weeds in here. I hate this part of the garden for that. I can't stand weeds. I think I might just put bark dust down in here to get rid of all the weeds, or to at least mitigate it, because we put bark chips down in our blueberry patch, which, holy cow, look at all these blueberries all over the place. This branch is so heavy, or the branches are so heavy, that they're starting to sag down. Holy macaroni, dude. Hopefully they don't break. And this is my 2301 Pew. I don't think I've ever had a plant that was, I don't know, this plant's got to be 20 feet long as well. It's just as long as the Ginger plant, but its secondaries just, I don't know. I don't know what happened to this plant or what's going on with it, really. Maybe it just didn't like the cold weather. One thing I have noticed about the Ginger genetics, or the 2560 Ginger genetics specifically, yeah, like the secondaries on this plant, it's kind of a finicky plant. You know, it's real hit and miss. Which this plant, the 2301 Pew plant, is a 2560 Ginger times 2501 Bernstrom. But anyways, the 2560 Ginger, I have noticed it doesn't like both the plants that I've got. Anytime I hit it with like a lot of micronutrients, it doesn't like it, where most other plants will take it no problem at all. But for some reason, the 2560 doesn't. And I've heard this from other people that it's not finicky in the way that it grows, but the things that it can tolerate, like weather, and fertilizers, certain fertilizers, stuff like that. Anyways, there's a pumpkin in the tip of this one. Either way, this plant's doing just fine. It'll be okay. I'll get a pumpkin pollinated on it before the 20th of June, and this plant will be huge as well. I think it's got roughly 20 secondaries-ish. There's a couple back here, like 1, 2, 3. That one's not doing very good. 1, 2, those first 3, I don't know, I terminated them. They weren't doing much of anything, so if it's not gonna grow, cut it off. I go the Moby Mike route. If it's not gonna take off, I'm done with it. I don't want it. And so I'll just bend this one back or do something with it. Maybe I'll leave that space right here and I'll grow secondaries from up here by the fruit and grow them back there. Not totally sure yet. Let's run over here. We'll look at my tomato plants. Man, yeah, weeds are just coming up everywhere. But what I was saying earlier, there used to be weeds, tons and tons of weeds as well in our blueberry patch. But now, I haven't weeded this part out yet. But once you get the weeds out of there, they don't seem to grow back, because I weeded this part and nothing has came back out. There's one little weed right there. It's this certain stuff called buttercups. It's got these really pretty little yellow flowers on it, but those weeds are like unkillable. You can't get rid of them any other way besides bark dust is the only way I've found so far. But this here is a 6-pound eggplant, another 6-pounder, another 6-pounder. This is a 798 LaRue. This is a 427 off of the same plant that grew the 950 Brandon. I can't remember what his last name is. From Washington State. I'm pretty sure he was grower of the year last year. So he grew a bunch of big tomatoes. Some really gorgeous big tomatoes too. This is a 798 LaRue, 590 LaRue, which grew my biggest tomato I've ever grown. This is another 590 LaRue, looking really good. These are all starting to get some tomatoes on there. This is a little teeny mega. It's like a single mega. Looking really good. Oh, here's a decent size. That's like a double mega. Tomato plants are looking beautiful. You can come over here. These are 24-inch head sunflowers. Some big old giants. This here is my 26.5 foot tall United States record height sunflower. I'm gonna grow it up the side of my long gourd trellis here and put a stent off the top. That right there is a 104 Ruthrop, which grew the biggest butternut squash in the world. I think 130 something pounds. It also grew it was either 76 or 86 pound butternut squash, which I'm pretty sure is the Oregon State record. I haven't found anyone else. Let me know in the comments if there is somebody else. I don't think there is anyone else that's grown a bigger one of those. Same with my carrot. Pretty sure I'm the Oregon record holder for carrot at 7.9 pounds. It was a monster carrot. Biggest, craziest looking octopus thing I've ever seen. These are my long gourds. These are all 139 Cardwell long gourds. This is from my biggest long gourd, which was that was the 168, second longest in the world, Al Eaton. Yeah, that's his name. Times a 147 LeBlanc. I had a bunch, so I just planted them all here. We'll see which ones grow the best. Same with over here. I had a bunch, so just planted them all. Alright, well, here's the corn patch again. Mostly weeds. Hopefully I'll get these taken care of at some point. It just seems like every year the corn patch is just covered in weeds. Tons of blueberries though. Holy macaroni. Blueberries galore. Very excited. That's my long gourd tower. Those are my got two 2,500 gallon tanks and then two 275 IBC totes that I water with. Water gets pumped out of the tanks into the littler tanks, and the little ones are where I mix my fertilizer, and the big ones is where I pull my clean water from. Then it gets pumped out here via these lines, and I'll have drip tape on all this, but I just haven't set it up yet. I've been working a lot, hence why I didn't upload last week. I was out of town working 12-hour days. Tons and tons of work to be done. Always something to do. Oh yeah, and then these are my bushel gourd plants. They haven't really taken off too crazy yet, but they're doing okay. They'll be fine. You don't need to pollinate a bushel gourd until later in the season. So I don't think they take much more than maybe 50 or 60 days to grow, something like that. A few more tomato plants. This is a 798 LaRue, another 590 LaRue. Ooh, this is a 1046 LaRue, another 1046 LaRue. I think that's the Oregon State record, or the Washington State record. Some more 24-inch and 22-inch sunflowers. And then these are my Marrow plants. I'm gonna grow over here. I'm just gonna grow them straight up that way. We have a little bit of secondary action. It's in front of my 2560 Ginger plant. Here's a far away view. It's a massive plant. It's my biggest plant. Probably my second biggest plant I've ever had. It's pretty big. Gonna pollinate a pumpkin on it this morning, right there. And then these are all my dahlias. Really excited about these. Love these dahlias. Get them from Brian and Jenny Miller from up in Washington. I like growing flowers, growing anything really. All right, well, that's your weekly update. I'll get with you again next week. Hopefully everybody's doing good. And I'd like to just reiterate what everybody else says, what Doc says, what Moby Mike says. Just because you have big plants doesn't mean you're gonna have big fruit. Biggest pumpkin I've ever grown was 1790, and I've always had big plants. So just because you're not quite as big as these ones yet doesn't mean you're not gonna grow a way bigger pumpkin than me, and vice versa. Just because you have small plants doesn't mean you're not gonna grow a really big pumpkin. There's a lot of season left. You still have quite a bit of time to get your plant bigger, at least another 20 days or so, maybe 20 to 30 days if you're really lucky. I've heard of people growing 2,000-pound pumpkins, pollinating them at the end of June to the beginning of July. So, but I am aiming for the June 20th at the latest, around there, just because I do have bigger plants, so by then they'll be taking up quite a bit of space. I usually grow about 1,000 square foot plants, or that's what I aim for anyways. All right, well, until next week, we'll see you then. Have a good day, guys.